remember the first time I saw the words Cyclone City. It was at a place I used to go to as a kid, and it was a roller skating rink. And I think at one time it must have been called Cyclone City Skate World. But these days, when I was young, it was just called Skate World. But I noticed on the back wall, very faded, like it had peeled off, just a faint outline of these words, Cyclone City. I think those words stayed with me for so long because it was a realization of where I was living, of what type of place this was. I mean, I was really young. I didn't know much about Cyclone Tracy, but there was something about the phrase that stayed with me, Cyclone City. Like, wow, I'm living in a cyclone city.
A cyclone has a sound, and it's not merely the sound of wind or the odd thump of something hitting the house. It's perhaps the most terrifying sound 40,000 Australians have ever heard.
And as I learned more about Darwin and more about the place's history, it took on a greater significance. There's something about it just stayed with me. Like, for some reason, it just had an impact. In 1974, Cyclone Tracy blew through Darwin and levelled it. Houses, buildings, businesses, everything just flattened to the ground. And so that's a significant moment in Darwin's history, but I wasn't aware of that as a kid. I just really liked the way that Cyclone City sounded, felt, and that realisation of where I was really living.
Cyclone City, when the wild wind comes and it rolls and it blows into town. Cyclone City, when the ocean rolls. Cyclone City, when the sky slows over with grey and the rain pours down. Cyclone City is when it feels like home.
It wasn't until years later, after I'd been writing songs and learning about the craft of songwriting, that Cyclone City came back to me just as a title. Like, that phrase just re-emerged, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should write a song called Cyclone City and sort of rebrand Darwin with my own stamp on it. Because I think a lot of people that live here would agree that it is somewhat of a cyclone city, but they might not put that term to it. But I feel like when they hear that, there'll be some agreement.
This rain pours, making rivers on our lawn, and our washing's piled high, cause it's never gonna dry. The windows shudder and the wind starts to roar. She's coming, looks like we'll be spending some time inside.
I've been working on songwriting for a few years by this stage, and coming into the new year, I decided to just set myself a bit of a challenge. Like, I don't do New Year's resolutions or anything like that, but I just thought a challenge for this year would be chorus writing. And I wanted to focus a portion of the new year concentrating on making choruses rather than full songs or rather than just verses. I thought I'm gonna get good at writing choruses, and that means writing a lot of them, throwing a lot of them out, trying different approaches. And so that was the task that I set myself this year. And Cyclone City was a title that I'd had that was on that list.
The complete roof of the house just disappeared. I mean, the complete house, walls and all just disappeared, leaving us out on the yard. Just picked us up and threw us.
She was a banshee.
I think I decided to focus on choruses because I'd spent a lot of my sort of songwriting development time focusing on how to write a verse. But I just kind of turned a corner in my thinking, and I started thinking more like a songwriter rather than just a rapper or a hip-hop dude. And so songwriting took on something new to me, and I realised I hadn't spent a whole lot of time working how to write choruses, how to make them hook people's ears. So I just set that task. I was like, okay, I've kind of worked out how to write a verse over the years, and it just felt the right time for me to sit down and go, okay, I'm going to spend some time working on the chorus as its own little part of the craft.
It was predicted to go right past Darwin and then travel on down in that sort of southwestern direction. But
She was destructive.
tropical cyclones are notoriously difficult to predict. People down south didn't believe it was as bad as it was. People were saying that Darwin's been wiped out, Darwin is destroyed. destroyed. It is like a bomb's gone off.
I remember the first version of the song, the hook and the title, Cyclone City, was a sung part, and then all the lines in between were like really full lines, and there was a lot of rap, and it was kind of a very full sounding chorus, almost a bit too busy. And as I sat with it for a while, I started to realise, maybe that is too busy. Maybe I can just listen to the music a bit more in a different way and try to hear what the music is asking for rather than me imposing myself onto the track. And after some time of sitting with it, that's when I realised that it was saying too much. The chorus was saying too much. The hook was there, the Cyclone City hook was there, but the lines in between were just packed. There was too much going on. I felt I needed to just strip that back, revisit it in terms of what the music was asking for, just pull it back, open it up and give it some space to breathe.
There's a sticky film on my skin soon as the day begins, and I've grown up with shirts and pants that feel slightly damp. I'm wet again soon as I towel myself down out the shower. I'm wearing sweat patches on my shirt like a brand.
What I did was take those lines that were in between the hook and I just removed them all from the recording. And in the session, I moved them all physically to the end of the song. I didn't want to delete them because I liked the material, but I didn't need them in the chorus. And I thought, I'll just put them aside for now so that I can listen to the chorus and hear what it's calling for rather than, like I said, imposing myself onto it. What I started to notice was the space in the chorus felt good. The music was breathing through it more and it started to sound a lot better. So I was really quite intentional about adding anything to it later, and I made sure that I could really hear it fitting to the music and not detracting from the melodic elements that were happening in the chorus already.
And I thought at that moment that we must be the only people alive.
She wanted to kill people.
Once I shifted that focus to being what does the song need at this point, I started to hear the lines coming through. It was a rolling sort of line that was coming. I couldn't hear the words yet, but I could kind of hear the rhythm and the flow.
Cyclone City, when the wild wind comes and it rolls and it blows into town. Cyclone City, and when the ocean roars.
What I wanted to capture about Darwin in the writing phase was just some of my personal experiences and feelings about this place. So the framework was looking at Darwin through the lens of a cyclone city. I wanted to focus on some personal moments and conversations that I'd had and kind of express the attitudes that you can get in Darwin around cyclone season. Like some people, they prepare so much, they really take it seriously. And then on the other end of the scale, you've got people that are just fully complacent. Yeah, I just wanted to capture some of those live moments from my life growing up here, some of those conversations that I'd had with family, and just try to express my perspective on how we approach cyclone season.
It's a scene I'll never forget.
Sitting here now, Cyclone City means a lot to me. The fact that the phrase stayed with me since I was a child is really quite significant. And then being able to turn that into something and make something out of it is a special moment. And this song is the first song that I've recorded in this collection. It really kind of marks the overall impression of the songs that I'm making, in that they are very much focused on significance of place. It's about the place that I grew up, the place that I live, and the feelings and the associations that come along with that. So there's more to come, but this is like the first step on the journey, which makes it pretty significant to me.
Cyclone City, when the wild wind comes and it rolls and it blows into town. Cyclone City, when the ocean rolls. Cyclone City, when the sky flows over with grey and the rain pours. goes down. Cyclone City.